watch. Yeah, learn how to watch. Stacking my guap. Waiting to pop. Hey, rubbing the spot. Learn to watch.
You already know it's your boy YoGaN. I'm just reacting to Drip's scale videos where he's scaling the cosmology to outer. He has a 3-part series. This is my raw reaction, raw, non-edited. I'm sorry that you're like kind of seeing me right here. I'm just setting up. As you can see, my camera's like, look, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing with my camera? But yeah, this is my raw reaction to his thing. I even give an explanation at the end a little bit. If you don't want to watch the entire thing, I do think that his entire series overall is around, in terms of scaling, I would personally say around to 8 to a 9 out of 10, because he is very knowledgeable and he definitely does give a lot of facts, and they are definitely worth watching. If you don't want to watch it here, you can go watch it on his page for shorter versions of it. Otherwise, this is just my reaction. And Drip, good job up on the scaling. Otherwise, peace.
Hello everyone, Drip here. So I recall making an in-depth Dragon Ball cosmology scale a few months ago. A lot of people watched it and a lot of people actually liked it, so W's on that side. But a lot of other people didn't like it, mostly due to the deep audio, and it got copyrighted in some countries, so some of my viewers couldn't access it. Others said it was too long, so I've decided to remake my cosmology video into a 7-part series of shorter videos.
7-part? God dang.
Time on a single video and address multiple points that people have made about my videos. We'll be going over a lot of changes I've made to the scale due to some corrections, and we're going to go into some insane tiers that even the tiering system can't hold. Yeah, we're gonna
Tiers with the tiering system. Hold on, let me turn this guy up.
Dragon Ball at this point. I will not go super in depth like my last video, as it will take too long. And if you want an in-depth scale, you can still watch my last video on the cosmology, as it covers the basic aspects that you're gonna want to understand. This video series will basically be building off of my last cosmology video and correcting as well as adding new things as we go. Now that we've gotten that over with, let's start the video.
My only real problem is, like, why 7 videos?
First of all, you can use these calcs to get the Earth in Dragon Ball anywhere from twice the size of the regular Earth to 4 times, all the way up to 1/3 the size of the Sun. And it's kind of consistent with the way the Earth's map is different from the regular Earth map, kind of like the One Piece planet. And it's also consistent with the way that these characters, who are already way faster than light, at that time still took a bit of time to travel around the planet. This wouldn't downplay their speed, it just means the planet is larger, which is consistent with the calcs we have. Now that we're done with that, let's move on to some other planets.
Okay, that was a
Now, it's consistently been a notion that planet Namek is a very large planet. The planet literally has 3 suns orbiting the planet, and these 3 suns happen to be either red dwarf stars or possibly red supergiant stars, in which even in the anime it's showcased that the planet has 3 suns orbiting it. And this isn't like a new thing, because planets are usually ridiculously large in Dragon Ball. This only becomes more consistent when you consider the fact that even the Earth in Dragon Ball is already 1/3 the size of a regular sun. And the thing is that characters like Goku, who are already massively faster than the speed of light at this point, are taking literal time to go across the planet. From one side of the planet to the other takes time for these MFTL plus characters to go around. That shows you that the planet isn't just of a regular size at all. These planets are massive. I mean, it's not like destroying planet Namek took out a huge chunk of the galaxy. I mean, it's not like it's shown in the anime or anything. I mean, it's just not there. I mean, planet Namek is like, it's like moon-sized. You know, downplayers finna make me laugh right now. Just like planet Namek, planet Vegeta, which is already 10 times the mass of the Earth in Dragon Ball, which we calculated to be around 1/3 the size of the Sun, planet Vegeta also has 2 stars orbiting it, and these stars seem to be like our Sun in a way. So planet Vegeta is
like he's grabbing everything from straight facts, so
itself. And we also need to take into account the fact that even using low-balled values, like saying planet Vegeta is only 10 times the size of the regular Earth, like using the low-balled regular Earth size, you still get solar system level for destroying planet Vegeta. And take note that destroying a solar system, like the amount of joules it would require to obliterate an entire solar system, is already in the dwarf galaxy ranges. So imagine how much joules it would take to vaporize a planet that can hold stars to itself via its own gravitational binding energy. And then if you factor in the size of planet Vegeta being over 10 times the size of the Earth, which is already 1/3 the size of the Sun, you get some pretty insane values, and it only adds more
Drip, my only question for you, bro, is why didn't you just grab this like off the wiki? Why did you grab this off of someone's? Is this your TikTok that you grabbed it off of? Whose TikTok is this? I mean, you like this, so I'm guessing it's someone else's.
To the scale of planet Vegeta or planet Namek, and the notion that planets in Dragon Ball are just not regular size at all. I'm not gonna go too deep into why the universe is infinite in Dragon Ball. I'm just gonna leave out all the notations and indications that such is the case. I already covered up all the points in regards to this topic in my cosmology video, the larger one that's over 47 minutes long. So if you want an in-depth skill as to why the universe is objectively infinite and all the attempts to debunk it are just stupid, you can go ahead and check out my video.
Dang, he literally just looked at them and said that they're just stupid. Alright, let's go to the second one. I don't really see anything like crazily wrong there.
Yeah.
He was just going over planet sizes and saying what was smaller, what was bigger. Nothing too crazy.
Hello everyone, Drip here. This is going to be part 2 of my Dragon Ball Cosmology Remastered series. As I promised I would upload it today, I did get quite a few views in a short time, and quite a few people are already subscribed, so I want to say thank you for that. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, so you can find out whenever you post a new video and you don't miss out on it. If you want the context for this series, make sure you go watch the part 1 first, because that's basically the intro. Now without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Let's get into it.
In the last video, we already established the infinityism of the regular universe pretty easily. So let's go straight into the other universal plus-size constructs in the cosmology. The most notable one is the Demon Realm, which is a parallel world to the universe. Basically, it works with different laws, as magic is more prevalent than science there. Another one is the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, and it's also another universal plus-size construct. Another notable one is Shinsekai, and it's also another universal size construct. It's also called the Divine Realm. So basically, the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, we now know there's about 3 of them now. One of them was the one on Kami's Lookout, one of them was the one Goku and Mirrors used, and the other was the one Frieza used to know.
See, the thing with calling like things like the Hyperbolic Time Chamber its own like universal construct because it's in a different dimension. I mean, people could easily just kind of shift that focus off into being more of a pocket dimension, or because having a dimension within your dimension, or having a space within that dimension, and it just being stuck in a different type of wall or something like that, doesn't instantly mean that it's like an entire different universe. Like, a universal construct is much different than just a different realm, or just not realm. Not realm's wrong word. Than just a different dimension. Because like, if I were to be up inside of a little like pocket dimension, or trapped inside of something, or thrown inside of a cage, and this cage had like some type of void or something like that, it doesn't mean I'm suddenly in a different universe. It wouldn't mean that. It would mean that whatever I'm in, whatever dimension I'm in, is still within that universe. Which, I mean, I don't know if he's, I don't really know what Drip's arguing for right here. I don't know if he's trying to say like that those are like universes or something like that.
To become
Oh.
So with this, the lowest level of the living universe would already be low multiversal in size. And these realms being compared to the universe at all would already make them infinite by extension.
Alright, so yeah, it's as I assumed. He's asserting the fact that since the spirit of time is universal because it's a different dimension. It's this not the room of spirit of time. It's the hyperbolic time chamber. I don't think the hyperbolic time chamber is universal. I don't believe that.
So just going off of that, just looking at the source material with a non-biased brain, you get low multiversal for the lowest level of the cosmology, which is the level that many people legitimately think that Goku caps at, when that's not even a fraction of the lowest level of the cosmology. So let's move on to the higher dimensions. So in the Broly movie, the novel describes Gogeta and Broly as breaking the boundaries of the universe itself.
Yeah, I remember posting
being
about
too
this.
much for the universe to handle, smashing the literal walls of space, which would explain higher dimensionality as they can't contain their boundaries within themselves. And it's described as breaking through several super-dimensional mathematical dimensions that don't exist in conventional reality. Dragon Ball Legends also describes the universe as having several layers of higher dimensions. Garlic Jr.'s Dead Zone is also considered a higher dimension, as it's verbatim stated to be a hyperspace within the actual Daizenshuu itself. Also, the limbo space is also a higher dimension.
That's actually a really good argument. The Garlic Jr. one, that's actually a really good argument.
Stated that the Kai's power had no hold on that space. The Daizenshuu also confirms the existence of dimensionality in the living world.
These are some really good arguments.
The concept of dimensionality does exist in the living world, as well as this Dragon Ball Super Exciting Guide confirming the concept of time, which would by extension include the concept of space as well. And not just the data book, or the anime, or the manga, implying or showing infinite dimensionality, but even the screenwriter of Dragon Ball, Takeo Koyama, confirms with these many scans the dimensionality of the Dragon Ball verse is infinite.
Okay. I remember Middle Track gave me these scans. Even if you have this confirming, like this is kind of just a side confirmation. It's not really anything you can use as like the main thing. But you know this is just trying to do some confirmation bias is what I believe it is. He's just trying to confirm what he's thinking using what the writer's saying. But even then, like realistically,
and even explains that the Dragon Ball has the concept of dimensionality. He explains how there's an infinite hierarchy, how there's infinite layers. There's this many scans of Takeo Koyama explaining one thing, and even stating that the data book is reliable in that regard. So if you're gonna disagree about infinite dimensionality in Dragon Ball at this point, you're just either being ignorant or you just don't want the verse to scale that high. You're just
there are people who don't want the verse to scale that high.
Because the data book implies it, the anime, the manga imply it, Takeo Koyama verbatim states it. So yeah, Dragon Ball has an infinite hierarchy, which would make that infinite hierarchy high hyperversal. Or you can even argue low outer versal, with it being stated.
Whoa, okay, you can't argue for being low outer, but
it's beyond the notions of space and time.
Wait, I don't know which one he's arguing for right now.
Where he explains that it's beyond the notions of space and time. So Dragon Ball does have an infinite amount of spatial temporal dimensions that each transcend the last, which would constitute an infinite hierarchy.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Guys,
like high key, he had quite a bit of proofs there that made sense. I just don't know what he's scaling here. Cause he just said the Dragon Ball hierarchy. So in part 3, maybe he clears it up a little bit more. In part 3, he probably clears it up a little bit more of what exactly he's talking about. It looks like why Otherworld is outerversal. So was he just scaling the freaking? Was he only scaling the universe?
Hello everyone, it's me Drip Sauce again. This is part 3 of my Dragon Ball Cosmology Remastered Scale. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing so you stay up to date with everything and everything Dragon Ball related, as well as making sure you like the video as well as sharing to your friends, and do consider following my TikTok.
Is this like,
because we're getting pretty close to 1,000 followers.
Are you gonna use the soundtrack every time?
We recently went past 300 subscribers, so I'd really like to thank you all for supporting me. I will continue to keep you all up to date on Dragon Ball, so let's get straight into the video for today. Now in my part 1, I established that the universe is infinite in size, as well as in part 2 I established that there are several dimensions in just the living world alone, as well as an infinite hierarchy of spatial dimensions.
Okay. So you're saying there's an infinite hierarchy within just the mortal universe, is what you're saying. That's what he's saying, right?
So we're already at high hyperversal for the living world alone.
Oh lord. Okay. High hyperversal for the living world alone? Man. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, realistically. Like the only problem that I do feel like that there is that a lot of that does sound like winky for the living universe alone, when it probably could be something else. But I'm not gonna tap up into that. I want to hear the rest.
So
of
when
this,
I use the
he's probably
terms
justifying
beyond
it.
space and time or transcend space-time, I'm speaking in context to such a world or realm transcending conceptual space-time or transcending an infinite hierarchy of dimensions, which I already established in my previous videos. This video is not running away, so if you haven't already watched part 1 and 2, go watch them first before watching this one. Now let's get into the video itself. First of all, the RPG game guidebook is licensed. It was created 4 years after the Daizenshu in 1999, so the Daizenshu was created in 1994 or so. It's literally stated that the game guidebook gets information from the anime, the manga, and various other source books. By source books, it's referring to the Daizenshu, the Super Exciting Guide, etc. It's basically saying the guidebooks in general. So it does state that the TV show, aka the anime, will not tell you all you need to know, and the guidebooks give you a better understanding of Goku's cosmology. It also states that it's based on Asian mythology. It also states the Dragon Ball verse is based off of the Journey to the West, even more evidence that it's based from Asian mythology, Buddhism, and Daoist concepts, which deals with metaphysics and abstractions. Even more consistent with the afterlife being stated to be disconnected from reality, and it's only connected on the most metaphysical level. Metaphysical means abstractions that transcends the laws of nature. These laws themselves are abstract concepts like time and space, and using these scans alone, the afterlife is already out of Versal for containing metaphysics in itself.
Whoa. Wait. Hold on. I mean, I would have to see what version of outer Versal you're using. Same with what version of hyperversal you're using, because hyperversal, when you said infinite hierarchies and infinite dimensions, sounds like you're probably using the versus battle tier scaling, maybe character stats, profiles, who knows. But for outer Versal, I don't.
What we can
Space
push
time
that consistency even more.
Transcend.
Many people are actually under the analogy that the afterlife is just merely above the universe and doesn't transcend it, and this is because of the macrocosm diagram that seems to imply such is the case, visually speaking, but the problem with that is you cannot visually conceptualize an infinite realm or a transcendence over a realm, and nothing is actually drawn to scale. For example, heaven does not take up a huge portion of the afterlife, and neither does that sun thingy. If you watch the anime, you'd know that heaven cannot even be seen while you're in the afterlife. It's so infinitesimally small in comparison to even a small portion of the afterlife that even Toriyama confirms it's just a representation, and every other piece of material describing this structure is in context to the diagram itself. The thing that defeats most of these ridiculous arguments is when dealing with Asian mythology, when a realm is stated or depicted to be above a certain place, it's in an idealistic representation of a transcendence. That's how these things work, especially when you factor in all the things that make it consistent, and not just Asian, but almost every other culture / religion believes in their spiritual realm or ghost world.
Okay, hold on. Because clearly my Discord on here just is making all the noise in the world. Quit out of this. Okay, let's go back into it.
Being a higher plane of existence than the normal physical reality or the universe. That's how these religions and mythologies treat their astral or ghost spiritual realms. So that above argument is really disingenuous and based on a hyper-literal contextualization and ignorance of the whole thing entirely. Many people who use that above argument try supporting their just above the universe and spiritual arguments by using this goofy ass translation saying the afterlife is just a transcendental realm that is above the universe physically, however ignoring the fact that their own argument gets defeated by the fact that the afterlife is a spiritual place, meaning it's not even physical to begin with. The souls in Dragon Ball can't even be contained in the living world because the living world cannot even contain something abstract. Not to mention transcendental and transcend still mean the same thing. These guys literally take the top part of this definition and hide the bottom. They're essentially suppressing substantial evidence that goes against their arguments to fit their own narratives, which is just a blatant appeal to motive fallacy. So yeah, that has been debunked. I've seen people also try to argue that King Kai's planet, forgetting the fact that the game guidebook, it stated that the afterlife has its own great rules and mysteries, so it functions on its own laws there. So which makes way for certain things in the story to function without contradictions, etc. So this also coincides with the fact that only the living world functions on real life physics. I can also just argue that it's artificial gravity being added by the Kais. It's literally not actual gravity that necessitates the existence of space-time or its curvature as a result of that. So using that argument that King Kai's planet has gravity, yeah, it's not going to do you much because it can literally be debunked and literally falls out of consistency with the scale. Scans like this are taken out of context and are just in context to the efficiency of King Kai's training, and it doesn't necessitate space-time being there. Even scans like this don't mean anything because you have to think, how can an author make things make sense and be enjoyable? No matter how strong you are or above time or whatever, your actions still take time within your perspective. There is still a flow of events from one action to another. It doesn't just happen instantaneously to you, otherwise you wouldn't even be able to perceive your own movements. It doesn't mean time necessarily has to be there. The author tries his best to make the story...
What is happening? I understand what he's saying. He's talking about time perception versus actual time, like, moving, how time is moving.
Work by describing it in ways you can understand the flow of events. You also find out how consistent my analogy is by the fact that the living world is called temporal in context to Goku being present in the realms of the other world. Essentially, the implication is that the afterlife doesn't have time, it's atemporal, yet here another implication of its separation from all of space and time, which essentially is an infinite hierarchy in Dragon Ball. Here's a little diagram I drew to conceptualize it.
Oh my god.
By people's logic, my diagram can't be out of Versal because it's a finite circle. That's how dumb these arguments sound.
That is a pretty goofy argument.
Now, even more consistency to it, it's stated in the super exciting guidebook that the afterlife has no concept of time. This just seals the deal and just adds butter to our bread. The fact that they went out of the way to explain that there is no concept of time is crazy. And don't forget the fact that Akira Toriyama says that these guidebooks are just more credible than himself on multiple occasions, as well as the staff members who write these guides and the story. Also, yes, the translation is very accurate. On Jisho, which is the best Japanese dictionary on the planet, the kanji for concept and time are picked out from the literal scan. Now, I don't think I need to explain why if there is no concept of time, there would be no concept of space as well, due to the way space and time are intertwined with one another, and one cannot exist without the other. That's why when you freeze, forward, or reverse time, the space is affected as well.
Yup,
Space
100%.
inherently requires time for the flow of events and measurement of progression, and time itself requires space to even exist.
This man is hard spitting.
Because the progression of events cannot take place without the place itself, which is in this case the space, which makes the space and time a duality. We know that this function exists even on the conceptual
you're gonna give him
level as
trans-duality?
well, obviously. And we know that Dragon Ball does follow real-life physics when it comes to space and time. So in Dragon Ball, if there is no space, then there is no time. Because I know other verses can have different laws, etc. So yeah, let's just get that out of the way, because I've seen that argument come up that different fictional verses can have different laws and shit. Not to mention that Takeo Koyama already believes that it's the space that is immediately intertwined with time that doesn't exist in the afterlife, which makes it perfectly clear. This also proves that Koyama knows the concept of what outer Versal actually is, and anything from henceforth is referring to planes of existence, not spatial dimensions. We've already moved past conceptual dimensionality.
That's a dope TN picture.
So when the word dimension is used in context to the afterlife, which we already established is transcendent of conceptual dimensionality and dimensions in of itself, it's referring to higher planes of existence within the afterlife, which Koyama confirms, by the way. Now, I was able to get the best translation for the Daizenshu scan from Electron X, who got it from a Japanese native named Shinji, who explained the context of the afterlife being transcendent of dimensionality itself. Japanese sentences being backwards, and so the context can change if you translate it differently. Nothing really new, but still a great help though. So shout out to Electron X, thanks a lot, he's a really good guy, he helps out in his server a lot, he and Shining, as well as Militrak and Supreme, all the guys, they help out a lot. So thanks to you guys. And do not get me started on this trash translation, bro. It literally ignored the kanji for dimensions, bro. Like, look at the raw fucking kanji, bro. Like, look at it, bro. The kanji, like, plus the context, bro, along with everything we have, still implies a transcendence over the living world, which is infinite dimensional, so would make it outer Versal. Just blatantly. So here we have the basic confirmations of the gods of the afterlife and the afterlife itself, transcending the concept of space-time pretty easily, just there for you. It's even confirmed as beyond dimensions and space, just there. People also try to argue that.
All right, okay, let's go to the comments, bro. So here's the points of contention. Here's where I'm gonna contend. All right. So first things first. The first problem I was having, all right, is that you didn't really like you shown some things, but you didn't explain the scans for the universe being infinite. That I know is an argument that they're gonna hit on. That I just feel like probably just a little explanation. No, I have no real problem with it. I believe that the Dragon Ball verse is infinite, so not like anything that I'm gonna have any real problem with. Number two, the infinite hierarchies inside of the mortal universe. That is another point for contention. That entire point, like a lot of the things that you kind of sourced out to, some of those can be perceived as either canon or non-canon. People will ask you to prove whether the canonility of it or justify what is canon or not canon. Again, I'm not too crazily. I'm not really against it, because realistically, like, there was a lot of facts that were stated there, but that looks like it's kind of going more up into comp Dragon Ball rather than regular Dragon Ball Super or Dragon Ball Z, which is again where people would probably try breaking the ice, is that you're scaling more of comp Dragon Ball is what they're probably going to put it as. But I mean, there were a lot of facts, especially within that part too. I definitely like the hard-hitting facts.
Well, if you made it all the way to this portion of the video, I commend you. However, this is where I'm going to end it. If you want to see the rest of the raw reaction, it is live up on Twitch. If you want to react to something on Twitch, because that's usually where I'm going to react to it, or I can move my lives to YouTube, just let me know. for reacting to any other scale, any other scan drip. If you got more and you want me to react to it, just hit me up either in the DMs, Discord, or up in the comment section right here up on YouTube. Same goes for anybody else out there. You guys want me to react to any of your scaling videos, please, please, please let me know and I'll post a reaction. I'm going to start doing more of these just because it's fun. So you guys have a wonderful day and